The film opens with us meeting a savage loan shark named Bart. His style of collecting money from debtors is really unusual and merciless. Bart has been instructing a man called Danny. Grew up as a dog only. Danny has been kept in a cage since a young age, fed dog food, and taught to follow rules. His mental capacity is that of a child, as other than what he is taught, he does not know how to behave or communicate. Danny has a special dog collar around his neck at all times. While he is wearing it, he is harmless, but he becomes an unrestrained, violent dog and kills everyone who removes the collar immediately. Bart is brutal to Danny. He routinely beats and insults him, but since Danny doesn't know any different, he thinks the abuse is a form of affection. One day, after a long day of bashing people up for money, Bart brings Danny home. A man notices that his forehead is bleeding and hands him a bandage, but Danny is so ignorant that he doesn't comprehend its purpose. He simply goes back to his cage and starts punching a bag. He also has a first grader's book that he uses to occupy himself. He learns a few new words and shows great interest in learning. The following day, they continue the pattern of threatening the debtors. One of their targets is a wealthy businessman who owes Bart a lot of money. He is not like the typical individuals they deal with because he knows about the collar trick. To prevent Bart from triggering Danny, they pull Bart away before he can take the collar off. They beat him up while Danny watches in confusion, unsure what he should do. Bart struggles and ultimately manages to take off his collar and trigger the beast in Danny, who battles and dispatches the adversaries in no time. His exceptional fighting skill doesn't go unnoticed by a man standing nearby. His name is Wyeth, and he is the organizer of an underground fight match. When he looks at Danny, he sees an opportunity to make a lot of money. After the debtor is nearly beaten to death, Bart collects his money and comes outside. Although Danny saved his life, the man is outraged that Danny didn't save him when he was being beaten. He calls Danny an unworthy animal, missing the reality that he is the reason behind Danny's actions. For the last stop of the day, they visit an antique warehouse. To ensure that the last trick won't be duplicated again, Bart asks Danny to stay in the warehouse while keeping a close watch on an alarm. When it glows red, he is invited to come inside and help Danny and his henchmen. As Danny waits, he discovers a piano in a corner of the room. He remembers seeing it in the book and is charmed by it. He touches a few keys when a blind pianist enters the room. His name is Sam, and he has come to tune the piano. Upon observing that Danny is fascinated by it, Sam helps him. It is a foreign experience for Danny because he hasn't been treated with kindness throughout his life. Throughout the interaction, Danny doesn't say anything, but Sam doesn't seem to care. To help him focus, he urges Danny to listen to the ticking sound of the clock. This reminds him of the alarm that his master had commanded him to watch. Danny sees that it is illuminated and runs inside to find Bart on the floor, completely beaten. He and his henchmen have managed to vanquish the enemies but are seriously injured in the process. They return to their headquarters and yell at Danny, calling him horrible names and kicking him into his cage. Then, Wyeth comes to meet Bart and presents a business opportunity. He wants Danny to engage in the next underground battle against the current champion. Since the conflict is a death match that only stops when a participant dies, the money is tremendous. If Danny is able to overcome the current champion, Bart will gain a fortune. So, he doesn't waste a second before accepting the deal. The following day, Danny is led to the ring. The opponent has been in the game for 3 years and has never been defeated. Everyone bets on him, confident in his skills. But before the match starts, Danny lands 3 hard blows to his neck and kills him in less than a minute. Wyeth is pleased to have found such a gem. He hands Bart his portion of the money, promising to send more later. On their journey back to the hideout, the mobster is in a good mood. He tells Danny to ask for anything he wants. Danny vaguely says piano, but Bart sees no utility in a musical instrument for a dog. Suddenly, their car is hit by a truck. The wealthy businessman who was beaten up yesterday has brought his people to murder Bart. They fire at the car repeatedly, eventually hitting the thug. But Danny is left alive with only a single bullet wounding him. With his master gone, he has only one place to go, the antique warehouse. He finds Sam inside, who recognizes him by his footsteps. Danny falls unconscious before he can ask for help. When he wakes up, he is on the fluffiest surface he has ever felt. He takes a moment before realizing that he is in a foreign room. It turns out Sam brought him to his place and has been taking care of him. Danny has been out for 2 straight days, so Sam is glad to finally have him back. He is still unaccustomed to being treated with compassion, and the new atmosphere makes him apprehensive. Sam's stepdaughter, Victoria, arrives at the house, and a horrified Danny hides under the bed. She sees that he is special and brings a keyboard under the bed, asking him to use it since he likes the piano. At supper, the family waits for Danny to join them. He comes out gripping the keys to himself. Because he has never consumed food in front of others, he starts eating it as he usually does. Victoria stops him and tells him how to eat properly without causing a mess. Danny's eccentric behavior makes the family chuckle, making him feel a certain way that he has never felt before. Later, Sam attempts to get his collar off, which startles Danny. He refuses to let anyone touch it, so Sam doesn't force him. The following morning, Sam and Danny drop Victoria off at her college. Before parting ways, she kisses Danny on the cheek, making him flustered. He had read about a kiss in his first-grade book and is pleased to have experienced it in real life. Sam notices this and smiles to himself. He also recognizes that Danny has gone through something awful in his life, which has impacted his mental capacity. To help him socialize, Sam brings him to a grocery store and asks him to communicate with the cashier. Although anxious, Danny watches Sam talk to others in amazement. Later that day, he is asked to bring Victoria home from college. He cautiously meets her, and the two go out for ice cream. At night, Victoria can't sleep, so she wakes Danny up and teaches him how to play the basic keys on the piano. Sam hears them from his bedroom and smiles, glad that Danny is finally opening up to them. In a short time, he becomes an inseparable part of their lives. One day, Danny and Sam are at the grocery store when some criminals start a fight with one another. Sam and the entire audience are afraid, but Danny continues grating the vegetables as if nothing is happening behind him. Later, Sam finds him and asks how he remained calm in a situation like that. Danny merely says that they weren't fighting him, so he shouldn't interfere. Sam is intrigued by the answer and inquires about Danny's past. He finds out that Danny's innocence was used to make him violent and sympathizes with him. For the next few weeks, they live as a happy family. Danny finally allows Victoria to take off his collar and is peaceful without it as well. Then one day, Sam takes him to work to mend a piano. While working on the instrument, he reveals that he and Victoria are relocating back to New York after she graduates. Danny is devastated because that would mean he will be left without a family again. But Sam clarifies that they are taking him as well since he is a part of the family today. After work, Danny is given half of the money because he assisted Sam. He excitedly goes to the store to buy a gift for everyone. However, on his way out, he bumps into a person who used to work for Bart. The person says that Bart is still alive and is searching for Danny everywhere since he is his source of income. Danny agrees to meet Bart because he wants to know who his parents are. In the following scene, Danny meets Bart and inquires about his mother. Bart claims that he found Danny on the side of the road and never bothered to look for his parents. After that, Danny is taken to yet another death match. His boss makes him wear a collar and then takes it off, only to find out that the trick doesn't work anymore. When Danny refuses to kill anyone, he is pushed into the fight ring with a formidable opponent. The opponent proceeds to strike Danny, but he doesn't retaliate. To make the match intriguing, more fighters are put into the ring, yet even after being mercilessly abused, Danny doesn't fight back. All of a sudden, after a man steps on his hand, something in Danny's head clicks. He transforms into his former self and doesn't waste much time before defeating the opponents. At the end of the day, Danny is beaten and thrown into his cage again. Meanwhile, Victoria and Sam are anxious about him but have no clue where to look. When no one is around, Danny sneaks out of the cage and finds a collection of images on Bart's workstation. He identifies himself in a picture of him sitting with his mother in front of a piano. He attacks Bart and asks him about his mother for the last time. The man admits that she was an adult worker who used to be his escort for several nights. She even brought little Danny to work and showed no regard for boundaries. However, Bart fell in love with her. Therefore, when she died of a sickness, he took Danny in and made him family. The following day, they are driving to work when Danny hears the word family, which reminds him of Sam and Victoria. He swerves the car, forcing it to crash, and uses the opportunity to escape. After that, he returns to his true relatives, who are over the moon to finally see him. Upon learning the story about his mother, they feel awful for him. Victoria describes the background of the photo, and Sam recognizes it as an auditorium he has visited. To find out more about Danny's mother, they head to the auditorium. The staff there recognize her, but claim that she disappeared with her son one day and never returned. Victoria finds a music note in the picture's background and uses it to play the piano. The tune is the one that Danny's mother used to sing when he was little. This brings back the memories he had suppressed throughout the years. A flashback shows us that his mother was a musician with no money. Hence, she took a loan from Bart in exchange for her body. She always kept Danny away from the business until one day Bart found out about him. When she refused to let him see her child, she was killed, and Danny was kidnapped. After retrieving the memories, Danny realizes how dangerous Bart is. He makes Sam and Victoria try to pack their luggage to leave the city promptly. But before they go, Bart and a large gang of his men arrive at Sam's apartment building. Danny hides Sam and Victoria in their closet for safety before dashing out to distract the thugs. He faces off against a man named The Stranger. The Stranger is an attacker hired by Bart with a skill level similar to Danny's. They engage in an intense conflict that ends when the Stranger falls from the window while Danny does his best to save him. In the end, Bart pursues Danny and discovers which apartment he used to live in. He threatens to kill Sam and Victoria if Danny doesn't come outside. Danny has to grudgingly give in to save his loved ones. But when he gets close to Bart, he attacks him and fiercely beats him. Sam and Victoria run out of the closet to stop him, realizing that he isn't a killer. When everything calms down, the three embrace each other. At the same time, the police arrive and arrest Bart for the variety of crimes he has committed. In the last scene, Danny and Sam attend a piano recital where Victoria is performing. She states that the piece is dedicated to a certain person and performs the tune that Danny's mother played years ago. Danny watches her in astonishment and sheds a happy tear. Subscribe to watch more videos like this, leave a comment about your favorite movie, and we will make it next. Thanks for watching.